I mean, I didn't do any notes.
No.
No notes.
Same. Some things never change.
Yeah, there's no point.
If my notes slip, then Dolan creeps into this chair, doesn't he?
I just had a little thing in my head I was going to say, but I was going to do a little partridge.
Mum would be like, why have you bought this? When I was young, I'd be like, Mum, I like Bovril, let me live. My mum was like, oh, that's a lovely voice. Who is that talking? And my dad was like, oh, it's Chris Dolan. And she took one look at the screen and went, I do not like his hair.
What?
Hello, welcome to the Villa View podcast with Dan Bardell and Tom Julian. Tom, you well?
Pretty well, yeah.
I just realised that I asked you the episode number before I was about to do the intro and then just didn't say it.
Just ignored it.
Yeah.
You're always worried. You're a bit paranoid that it's going to be wrong at every time. I think earlier on in the season, where we're only in single figures still,
You should be getting it right.
should be getting it right.
I know, but the trouble is I see E04 on your notes and I think, has Tom got it right? And then that puts me off wanting to say it because I know things on there aren't always correct.
I just want to say, I'm going to put it out there, I think these might be my best notes ever.
That is a bold, brash statement at the start of a podcast where lots can go wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got a whole hour now not to make a mistake on there.
Listen, I like the pressure of it. I like the hype it up, and it's going to deliver. Feeling good. Stop reading them.
What are they for?
There's a lot to get through today. We should probably get going. We obviously started the Premier League season. Perhaps not the right result that we wanted, but the right. There's some positives certainly to
Loads
take away.
of positives.
We've got predictions to do. We've got a couple of other things to touch on as well. So we should dive straight in, shouldn't we?
Tom, you're the boss.
Well, Spurs 3, Villa 1. Stop looking at my notes. I'm totally paranoid now.
How am I supposed to look?
Look into the camera.
Oh,
Make sure you're in shot. That's
true. That is a problem.
You were there at the Spurs ground. So
Yes.
let's start with this brand spanking new Spurs stadium. What did you think of it, first of all?
Pristine, to be fair. Inside, really nice ground. I still prefer an older ground. I think I still prefer Villa Park. If you were to offer me the chance to move into a big super stadium like that, I don't think I'd want to. I think I'd stay at Villa Park if I had the choice. But really nice. I wasn't impressed with, like when you've seen how it all works at Spurs. So it looks really wide open spaces. You go in, your beer fills up from the bottom, and there's loads of room. You're taking people 30 seconds to get served. Oh no, not in the away end. It's a bog standard.
Is it?
In the away end, it took me half an hour to get a beer when I got in there.
And it's just a regular.
Well, I think
pouring.
it did fill up from the bottom, but you couldn't see because the staff were doing it like behind a load of stuff, so you didn't get to see that. And then Robbie warned me in the preview that if anyone pokes the bottom of your cup, it could break and go everywhere. And then I was worried that people were going to come up and just go boink.
Yeah, there's
bottom of the cup.
There's a place in Hammersmith where you can do that, and it's a really nice chicken wing place. Yeah, and it has nice beer as well.
No good for me. I've just gone vegetarian.
Have you? What, this week?
I'm 5 days in. 5 days clean.
Oh right.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, my wife's vegetarian, and I just randomly decided on Friday night. I looked at my rabbits, and I just thought I'd seen a few videos recently as well that had put me off of animals in a bad way.
Right.
And I just thought, what's the difference between those rabbits and, say, a pig or a cow? Well, they've got feelings too. So I just thought, I'm not going to eat meat anymore.
Right.
My mum is not happy.
No.
No, Italian. She pasta with mince and stuff. She's worried about when I come back about not being able to eat her pasta. Yeah, she's devastated.
Oh, well, that's interesting. Friday night's a terrible night to go vegetarian. You've got 2 really good meals, good hearty meals, and you've wasted them.
What do you mean I've got 2? Oh, in the weekend. I didn't eat anything on Saturday. I just drank.
Oh, yeah.
I'm surprised I was in as good a state as I was.
So you've already, Simon Faulkner already said...
Are you a vegetarian?
so would you guys rather stay at Villa Park or earn less revenue, or move somewhere new for extra dollar? Do we need the extra dollar? I mean, it's always nice to have more money, obviously, but the owner's situation now, they're very, very wealthy. It's not like the kind of thing we'd need to do to create extra revenue, I wouldn't think. No, and Villa Park is such a classic stadium, isn't it?
It's the best.
It is one of the best. It's one of the most iconic. It has that place in folklore. You take that away and it's... What is the new place? You're right. Some people talk about these kind of soulless new stadiums.
It wasn't soulless, Spurs, and I've got to say, didn't hear a peep off them till they scored. It was pretty quiet, and the Villa fans were in a magnificent voice. It's a nice away end. It's big, it's spacious, it's all set up ready for safe standing as well with the rails, which is good view. Really good stadium. I'd recommend it. I'm very, very pleased. I'm very fortunate that I got to go with Dolan the Warrior, all the way through the game. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I felt like that on my sofa.
Did you?
Yeah, I felt horrible.
Shame you couldn't come because you were supposed to come, weren't you?
Yeah,
disappointing.
Had a bit of work to do, which actually turned out to be not very much work, which is more annoying.
Worse.
So yeah, I sat there on my own for most of it, and then my son and wife came home just to see us concede 3.
I pretty much feel like we went 1-0 up, was it, after 8 minutes or whatever it was, and Dolan enjoyed that 2 minutes of celebration. From after that, he was just like, I'm worried.
He's a very nervous companion.
Yeah, I've got to say, I was pretty calm.
I wouldn't want to be on a flight with him. I feel like he'd be just holding on the whole time.
Yeah, maybe. I was pretty calm, to be fair. Wrongly so.
Well, so
in the end.
Let's look at the starting lineup. Elmo, Taylor, Hourihane and El Ghazi all started. These were the kind of names that we were talking about as potential replacements there. Smith trusting the players that got Villa up, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised to see Trezeguet in there because that's not what you've just said, but I was surprised to see. I was surprised to see Trezeguet in there because Hotter's played most of pre-season. As I said in a previous video, Hotter's one that knows what Dean Smith wants probably as much as anyone at Aston Villa. So I was surprised to see Trezeguet in there. I wasn't majorly surprised to see Elmo. More so Taylor because Target's played most of pre-season, but it kind of makes sense in some ways that I feel like Elmo and Taylor are more away fullbacks, and the other two are more Villa Park fullbacks. If that makes sense, that they might play more at home. Because we're playing at Spurs, when they had Walker, Trippier, Rose and Ben Davies, they were pretty fluid, weren't they? They'd rotate quite heavily. I feel like we might do that a lot this season. And I've got to say, I thought Neil Taylor was one of our best players. I think he barely put a foot wrong. Totally.
So when the formation, I don't know what the Wi-Fi is like in the Spurs stadium, but when the team came out, there was obviously a lot of the negativity came back for Taylor.
I didn't know.
It was just kind of like, why is Smith going to go in there? That kind of thing. And my thought was like, well, he was the most improved player, I thought, for us in the second half of last season.
Plus, he's played in the Premier. He's probably played more Premier League games than Matt Target, I guess.
Yeah, potentially.
He played a couple of seasons for Swansea, didn't he? When they were doing all right.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you. I thought he was. I don't think he put a foot wrong. I don't think he was definitely not a fault for anything.
And in for a shout for our man of the match, I would say. I mean, I think the two centre backs and the goalkeeper were very good. I'm sure we'll come on to that as well. But Taylor had a great game. Me and Dolan kept saying Neil Taylor's having a great game. Kept turning around and saying that to each other. I thought he played really well.
Yeah,
I don't like that criticising the lineup. Like I'm never a massive fan of doing that anyway. Before the game, I kind of think, well, what's the point? Because it's there now. Just get behind it.
Yeah.
But I think Dean Smith earns our trust a little bit more than people hopping on Twitter straight away, first team selection of the season.
That's what I said. I was kind of like, these are the guys that Smith knows, he trusts and he goes with. And for long parts of that game, particularly the defensive side of it, they did their job. We saw straight away what Spurs were going to do. We lost the ball almost immediately, and they get a couple of chances. Lucas Moura with a golden headed chance there. He kind of just drifts off Mings and heads it over the bar. Should do better with that.
Yeah, it's a good early chance, isn't it? And you think, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
In a bit of trouble here, but I thought we composed ourselves pretty well after that. And first half, I thought we maybe shaded it. Maybe. Do you not think that?
No.
I mean, let's bear in mind I'd had 8 or 9 points.
Yeah.
Okay, shaded is probably a step too far, but we had chances. We played well. We were looking dangerous on the break.
So that first chance comes, and because I watched the Liverpool game the night before. I don't know if you did. And obviously Liverpool score almost straight away in that game, and Moura has that chance, and I'm just like, oh no.
But there's some of the Norwich defending was.
But the way that Moura drifted off Mings and kind of comes between Taylor, that's the kind of first or second chance already, and you're just like, are we going to defend like Norwich did? Obviously Hanley scores that horrible own goal.
I mean, not a Premier League player, Grant Handler.
No,
but he didn't play for them last season. He was a sub or injured, I think, but so they've got injuries at the moment, so that's the only reason why he played. I think
it's a worrying start, that.
I was quite impressed by Norwich, to be fair.
I find
not their defensive naivety.
Well, exactly. I kind of, lots of people are saying that they were impressed with Norwich, and they were good going forward, but Liverpool kind of took their foot off the gas. I mean, you're 4-0 up at half time. It's not. Is it a true reflection of what Norwich are going to be? Maybe we save that for the Norwich podcast.
I mean, I've got to be honest. Liverpool can't afford to take the foot off the gas because City are a machine.
Yeah.
The goal difference from day one is vital.
It's mad,
it's ridiculous, isn't it?
Premier League football is good, isn't it?
Like, oh, mate, it's so good to be back. I sat down on Friday night and I was like, yes, this is the league we're in.
Yeah.
I've not watched any Championship.
Yeah.
So I know some people on Twitter have been saying, I've got a soft spot for the Championship now. I don't think I watched a game before Villa got relegated, but now I'll watch it religiously. Unless we go back there, I probably won't sit down and watch it again.
It's time, isn't it? It's like you've got to prioritise where you get your football in sometimes, and the Championship is brilliant. It's a great league.
I've got a lot going on as well. Rabbits, Xbox,
vegetarianism,
Football Manager. I can't be watching all football.
So 8 minutes in, as you already mentioned, John McGinn gets behind the Spurs back four, holds off Danny Rose really, really well. Rose kind of jumps in and McGinn does well to kind of hold the ball, take his time, really cool under pressure, and just slots it past Lloris. Great finish.
He leaves Danny Rose in a heap, essentially, doesn't he? Very satisfied.
He had a better day than Danny Rose, and we'll come on to another incident.
To be honest, I was shocked he was playing after all the palaver in the transfer window. Them trying to leave, trying to get rid of him, telling him he's got to go to Watford. Fair play to him for his professionalism, for just coming in and playing a decent game. Although he did get sat down like Jamie Campion sat me down in the Villa on tour game. To be fair, great to see from McGinn. I can't remember where I said this, but I know I have said it somewhere, that the Premier League is going to love John McGinn.
You've said a lot of things to a lot of people. So.
And the Premier League's already started to love John McGinn. Jamie Redknapp was raving about him. He's just such a likeable player, isn't he?
Yeah, Andy Hinchcliffe and Rob Hawthorne, I think it was, on the Sky commentary on Saturday evening.
No, probably right.
And they were just waxing lyrical about John McGinn. But you could tell that they hadn't watched that much Championship, because like the difference between... like they're just kind of discovering John McGinn at this stage.
Yeah, because, I'm going off on a tangent here, you'll be surprised to hear, but when we went to the Premier League debate thing last week with Carragher and Evelyn, we're talking about Grealish. They're kind of I'm not slacking them off because they're way better than me, anything, and they're great pundits and really interesting to listen to, but they're talking about the Grealish of when they're 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Gary Neville's talking to the Jack Grealish that was deciding which country he was going to represent.
Totally.
They're not talking about. And it's their right. They don't need to watch the Championship. They don't cover it. That's not their bag, is it? Oh. But that's kind of like that. People are surprised because they've not seen him in the Championship. McGinn was sensational, great goal, and we're going to need him to score more.
Yeah, for sure. 20 minutes in, and McGinn is in the action again. Finds Trezeguet with a lovely little ball, and Trezeguet I thought was one of the most exciting players.
It was lively, wasn't it?
Certainly for the first half and first part of the second half as well. He really impressed me. I would like to watch from him.
He really reminds me of someone, but I can't put my finger on
young Tom Julian.
On who he is. Definitely not a young Tom Julian down the wing. Tom Julian's a more workman-like midfielder. Just his build and the way he runs, he just reminds me of someone. But this isn't a good chat because I can't remember who he is. But
maybe it'll come to you.
He was lively. Actually met his brother.
Oh yeah.
Before the game, we're trying to help him get his tickets because his English wasn't very good. But surprisingly, the Irish and Brummie accent were not easy for him to understand. I think we threw even more confusion into the mix.
I've just written here, Trezeguet rapid. At 26 minutes, leaves Rose for dead and puts in a great ball. Wesley had gone to the front post, so he just overcooks it and it hit the back post. That kind of understanding from two players that haven't played much football together, obviously. Hopefully that will kind of build as the season comes and they'll learn how to play with each other.
Yeah, and let me just say, if the second goal had gone in, I don't dread to think of the scenes in the away end would have just been unbelievable. I don't think I've ever celebrated a goal as hard as I did for that first goal. The first goal, the John McGinn goal. I was dragging Pat Tolley down. Pat Tolley was a couple of rows behind me. I was dragging Pat Tolley down to come and celebrate with us. It was great in the away end, and I've got to say as well, the fans in the away end on Saturday were unbelievable. Stuck by the team the whole way through. In previous years, if you chuck away a game late, it's just complete resignation and everyone's really downtrodden and downbeat. It wasn't like that at all. Yeah. It was such a good atmosphere, so positive, and I stayed with the team and it was brilliant to see.
It feels like that's something we've talked about since the start of the season, or like kind of through the pre-season, where there's been quite a concerted effort to not get on the back of the team early, and it's nice to see that actually come to fruition at the first game of the season.
Yeah, I've said in some of my blogs, it's about realism, and I felt like there was a massive dose of realism in that away end on Saturday. It would have been lovely to go to Spurs and get a result, but realistically, it was always a massive ask. Once you 1-0 up for so long, it is a little bit disappointing, obviously, that you haven't seen it out and even come away with a point.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. They're a fantastic football team, Spurs, and I still think if Eriksen, I'm jumping ahead, if Eriksen hadn't come on, I think we might have seen it out, might have at least got a point. So
Spurs build themselves into the game. They're still not quite cooking, and I have to say Villa's defensive four, and I would say Hourihane in front of those as well. We'll come on to him in a little bit more detail in a minute. But that back five and Heaton as well, working so hard and reducing Spurs essentially to long shots. Kane, Winks, Sissoko all have kind of pot shots. Heaton kind of... is equal to most of them, and then they're going wayward as well. So Villa, I kind of said at half time Spurs deserved to score maybe 1 or 2, but actually the way that Villa defended,
I disagree with that.
I mean, they had so many chances.
There's so many.
Yeah, they did. The stats are unreal. It's like 31-7.
You said in the first half.
Even the first half, they had all the ball. I think they 75%.
I'm not saying they didn't have a lot of the ball, but I thought we had a game plan. We were very compact. We knew what we were doing. Everyone was in shape, and we made it difficult for them. I mean, how many saves did you make in that first half?
If you just take the first 3 minutes, Spurs probably had 2 chances that they should have done better with. Right at the end of the half as well, Kane had a header. 10 seconds later, Kane's through. He's just offside, which looked a little bit questionable as well. So, I mean, to say that they didn't at least deserve a goal, I think is a little bit rich.
Maybe because I was beard up, but I felt very comfortable in that first half. I didn't feel like they were going to score and break us down.
Yeah, that's the beer talking.
Is it?
I mean,
Dolan had the same amount of beer as me, and he wasn't saying that.
You just said Dolan was worried the whole time?
Yeah, I'm saying Dolan was worried.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that doesn't make sense. Let's move on.
Anyway, the facts are Villa 1-0 up at half time. Like you say, doing all right, but the pressure's already
You
coming.
would expect Spurs to have most of the ball and have most of the shots.
See,
you wouldn't expect us to rock up at White Hart Lane first game back and just be dominating.
I don't want to sound negative at all here, and I think this needs to be taken in the right way, and I'm sure it won't be.
I'm not going to take it in the
But
right
it
way.
felt a little bit like an FA Cup tie at places, where we were the lower league underdog team, and we were holding on to a giant killing, essentially.
I just felt like the plan was be compact, try and restrict them, try and make them resort to long range shooting.
We didn't do that, especially when it got into the second half.
And then catch them on the break, and we had a few breaks.
We had a couple of breaks.
Grealish went on that big run.
Yeah,
as well,
made
didn't
off to
they?
Trezeguet.
Yeah, I felt like we executed the game plan well in the first half.
Interesting.
Maybe I'm being delusional.
No, maybe
I'm sure
you're
people
being.
will tell me in the comments that I'm being delusional.
I mean,
but
you talked about realism, and maybe you are being more realistic. But it felt like the gulf was quite substantial. It just had that little FA Cup tie.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
My thoughts are that if that game's in 10, 15 games' time when we're more acclimatised to being back in the Premier League, we're probably a little bit more expansive. But first game back, you've got players that have never played in the country before in a competitive game.
Yeah.
You've got no relationships to speak of, which is probably why Taylor and Al Mohammadi are playing. Another reason. I just think we made the best of what we had. We utilised that midfield of Hourihane, Grealish and McGinn that was the midfield last season. I felt like we tried to play through them in the first half, which was the right thing to do.
Yeah, we just didn't have that much ball to play with. I think this was interesting going back to that fan debate with what Jamie Carragher said. I think it was that Grealish just wouldn't have the ball as much as he's enjoyed in the Championship.
Yeah, not against Spurs.
No, but I think that struck me kind of when he said it, and then I felt I think that was last week, and then I felt kind of nervous building up to the game. And then when we did see those moments from Grealish, absolutely loved them, but they were few and far between because Spurs are such a good side.
As I say, in 10, 15 games' time, we're playing a big team away. Maybe not Man City, they frightened to death.
Yeah.
But I think he'd have more of the ball. I think we utilised a game plan based on personnel, time, that people had been there, and the fact it's our first game back in the Premier League for 3 years.
Totally.
I mean, to be fair, last time we were in the Premier League, we were just existing for 4 or 5 years. We were literally a pointless club in the Premier League.
Literally.
Yeah, I think I saw what I would expect to see, and I thought it was clever and executed decently.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be negative here at all.
I know you're not a negative person.
It just kind of felt at times like
you're
we
annoyingly
were
positive at times about it.
So let's go to this question then. Old Codger, all games away to the top 6 are free hits. It's all about the home points. Do you agree with that, or is that going to change as the season goes on?
Home's massive because, again, I'm harping back onto when we were last in the Premier League. We were useless at home. Absolutely useless. But the one thing that's happened since we've been in the Championship is players have got used to playing at home and they've got used to winning at home,
right,
which is a good habit. I don't think that changes coming into the Premier League. I think you go to Villa Park and we expect to be the team pressing. I think Dean Smith will expect us to be the team playing on the front foot. Next weekend, for example, I think we'll come out and we'll be expansive and we'll go to win the game and try and win the game, and I believe that we will win the game.
Next week is... And I'm slightly contradicting myself here, but next week is such a different proposition, which is kind of why it makes me feel that FA Cup tie. Do you know, like, I feel like we've put Spurs in the top 6 on a pedestal, and they are great teams, especially, we'll come on to predictions, but Spurs, Liverpool and Man City, I think, are the 3 best teams in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Bournemouth at home, I think we should be winning those games.
Yeah, I do as well.
Totally.
I agree.
And so I feel like I want to reserve all judgment on players until we've had the next kind of 3 games where we're playing teams that are about our level, I would say.
Everton will be a tougher one the week after that. I think they've purchased well in the summer, and I think Marco Silva's second season, I think they'll be better than they were last season. I've completely forgotten what I was going to say.
Well, let's move on to this.
I was going to say, I've got it again.
Okay, good.
I always do that.
You do. It's annoying.
If we can win 8 to 10 games at home this season,
right,
we'll stay up pretty reasonably comfortably, because I think we will win 3 or 4 at least away games. So home form's massive. So if we can start off home with a win against Bournemouth, and I would, as you say, describe that as a winnable game. I look at Bournemouth coming away from home. A funny team, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Some days they could be absolutely brilliant. Sometimes you watch them and you think a bit one-dimensional.
I agree,
aren't they? So hopefully they'll turn up on Saturday and be one-dimensional.
Well, the second half then was a nervy encounter for me. Maybe not for you, Billy Big Pints.
That well-known nickname.
Yeah. So Sissoko misses a golden opportunity. Kind of
went out for a throw.
5 minutes in. Yeah. Yeah, right. But
from where we are, that it looks like it's really close.
Right, so he's got loads of space. I think Heaton does really well to close him down, but Sissoko, the blood rushes to his head and he puts it well wide.
He's not the most composed player, is he, Sissoko?
No. And then I think a real key point in the game, a bit like in the first half when McGinn scores, McGinn then goes down under pressure from Danny Rose, and the Sky commentators are completely dismissive of it. They're like, nothing doing, not so much. I immediately thought, well, there's more to that than was thought, and other angles kind of show Rose being very, very clumsy, and it feels like you've seen them given.
The more I watch it, the more I'm starting to believe it's a penalty.
I agree as well.
And it was looked at, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
By VAR?
Yeah.
I mean, the lad does not get the ball.
Yeah.
He whether he's done it on purpose or not is irrelevant. He has connected with John McGinn and bundled into him. Maybe they think McGinn initiated the contact, but
not sure how.
Yeah, but that's the only thing I think of as to why it wasn't given, because McGinn, he likes to put his body in, doesn't he? So I don't know. At the time, I remember Dolan saying, "Nah, no way, a penalty." And I don't remember the claims in the away end being massive, and it was right next to us as well. But the more I look at it, and I've watched it back a couple of times now, you feel a little hard done by, and I know Christian Purslow came on Sky Sports News last night and he said the same. Yeah,
so Linda Pillow says, do you think the John McGinn incident was a penalty, and were you aware at the ground whether VAR had seen the incident?
Yeah, it came up on the screen, I think.
Does it?
I mean, that could have been for something else. I remembered it wrong, but it does come on. I saw it come on Saturday at some point.
Yeah.
Whether or not it came on for that, I couldn't tell you the specifics, but it was coming on and working.
Yeah, 1874_James from the stands. Did that McGinn chance look a pen in the second half? And what's both of your thoughts now on the matter? We've kind of gone through that. The more I see it, the more pen.
Absolutely robbed.
Yeah.
Absolutely robbed.
But as I say,
down with VAR.
The Sky Sports guys were pretty adamant that it wasn't, and I was a bit shocked at that. I was kind of speaking with a couple of guys on Twitter, Chico Hamilton's Pants, to name one. Chris Kavanagh was the referee. I thought he had a pretty good game.
Yeah, I've got no complaints.
Apart from potentially that one.
Yeah, at that point, if it's been checked, he's relying on what people's interpretation are in Stockley Park or whatever it's called, isn't it?
Isn't it called the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
No, the VAR people in Stockley Park.
Right, sorry, yeah.
I don't think the Spurs ground.
I was going to say, where have you got that from?
Stockley Park, mate.
Who is Stockley?
Stockley. Who do you think sat next to you? You? Another version of yourself getting things wrong.
Oh, come on. Don't need it. Don't need this negativity. So Spurs dominate the possession. They're kind of creating more and more chances. There's a point where Tom Heaton runs out of his box around 66 minutes, heads the ball clear, but it's straight to a Spurs player. Mings does very well to get back and kind of cover, but it's again a bit of a nervy time. I thought Tom Heaton had an absolutely quality game. I
think he's an absolutely quality keeper.
Yeah.
And I'm very happy we've got him. I've been a big fan of him for a few years, Heaton. I've loved his work at Burnley. I keep an eye on keepers because I like to try my hand in goal every now and again. He is very commanding, big leader. He's decisive, and that's what I like about a goalkeeper when they're decisive, which goes against everything I've praised Neeland for in the past. Reminds me a bit like David James. When we had David James, people would say, "Oh, Calamity James, whatever." You know what? He made mistakes, But at least he was decisive. He never made a mistake because he hesitated. He made up his mind he was coming, and he just came. And I agree with that mentality as a goalkeeper.
One of the best things about Heaton was, and this isn't one of the best things, but the fact that you could hear him on the Sky broadcast like screaming at his defenders when he was coming, when he wanted rid, and everybody knew what was going on. And there was a time where I think it was Engels just like chested it back, and it just felt like everybody felt calm under Heaton. And there's no disrespect to Jed Steer, but Heaton, for what we've got him for, it could save us maybe 10 to 12 points this year.
Well, think about how we were this time last year, defensively, with Jedinak, Chester on one leg,
Hutton on the left back.
I mean, all over the place. Transabi right back. Yeah. Absolutely all over the place, weren't we? I was quite buoyed by what I saw, because that core down the middle of Heaton, Mings and Engels, I think that's decent.
Yeah.
I think that's good, and I think that could serve us well going forward. Engels looked like he'd been playing for Villa for years.
Well, let's talk about him for a second, because I feel exactly the same. I thought Engels, for his first game in English football, did a brilliant job. He looked calm, he looked collected, he was strong next to Mings, and I thought he played as every bit as good as Mings did.
Yeah, I think Mings stood out more because I think he made more clearances and headed clearances through the game. He actually reminded me a little bit of, I think it was the 2001-2002 season we played Spurs away under John Gregory, and that was Melberg's first season, and he played at White Lane and we drew 0-0, and he had a great debut, really solid, looked like he'd been there forever. And Engels looked the same, but he's just so good on the ball as well, so calm. He looks like he can't be flustered. Engels, and it's a good trait to have, and if he keeps that up, it's early doors here. I know Belgium have got a lot of very good centre backs, but playing the Premier League won't be too far away from the Belgium squad if he can keep up that kind of form.
And one of my favourite things about having Dean Smith as manager is the fact that our centre-backs can bring the ball out, and it gives us an extra player in midfield kind of going forward. It frees up the defensive midfielder, whoever that's going to be, to push on a little bit more, and just gives us that space where we don't necessarily have it because we're not playing wing-backs. The extra man can kind of move into midfield. Both Mings and Engels have shown already that they're happy to do that.
Yeah, the other thing I like is that I know Engels was a player who Dean Smith had identified at Brentford, who he wanted at Brentford maybe this time last year. It just shows he's got an eye for a player, and he's got a way of playing and people that he wants. Whether he's at Brentford or whether he's at Villa, he's got that set way of playing. He wants players that can do what Dean Smith wants them to do. Yeah. He's not just shoehorning people in. He's got players to come in and play in his system and play his way.
So 72 minutes, the dream ends a little bit.
When did Ericsson come on? Have you got that down?
No, I haven't got that down.
That was the key.
It was, and do you know what? I think Sky cursed it a little bit, because at half-time they were like, Ericsson's on the bench, he's just waiting for his moment.
Yeah, and they were right.
And they bring him on, and it was, you know how sometimes they hero worship a player and he comes on and is the difference. Ericsson was everything about that, wasn't it?
No, I've got, obviously I've not been to a Premier League game for 3 years now. I've forgotten how much of a step up certain players are to what I've watched in the Championship. Obviously, we've been very fortunate over the last few years to watch Grealish, and we've been watching players that are at the top end of the Championship better. Some of the players we've had are Premier League players playing in the Championship.
Yep.
But Christian Eriksen is just an elite midfielder. He came on for Winks and he just dominated the game. He said, "Give me the ball, and I will pick people out. I will make things happen." He was so busy, so dynamic. He completely changed that game. I wish he'd been sold.
Are you surprised that Spurs were trying to get rid of him? And do you think
they're not trying to get rid of him, are they? He won't sign a contract.
Right. Okay.
He wants to go.
Oh, does he?
So a year left on his contract. So if Spurs can make some money on him, they've now signed two midfield players in Ndombele and Lo Celso.
Yeah.
Is it that will come in and I mean, I always think it's a bad sign. You remember Spurs sold Bale and then they signed 5 players.
Yeah.
It's basically Eriksen might be off. They're replacing him with 2 people. That tells me that Eriksen's better than the people that they've bought in.
Sure, but Ndombele, he scores the goal at 72 minutes. Heaton makes a great save, but he parries it only as far as Kane.
He's a good save, that is. Very good save.
Very good save.
That's the kind of save that Heaton's very good at. He made one in point blank the week before in the Leipzig game as well. He's just an instinctive goalkeeper. That's an instinctive save. But he gets such a big hand on it as well. And he just really shovel it away. But unfortunately, it was the Alamo at that point. It just kept coming back.
And the great thing about Harry Kane in terms of being a Spurs fan or being an England fan is that Kane is always in the right place. He picks the ball up, lays it back to Ndombele, who I don't think had a brilliant game up until then. He was growing into it, but that is a huge goal for him to kind of settle his nerves on his debut as well.
Yeah, he's like you say, he didn't have a great game, but that will just give him a lift immediately. Say if he hadn't have scored that goal, there might be question marks over him a little bit the next week. There shouldn't be, because it's very early days for him, and I always think you don't see the best of someone until their second season.
Yeah.
Anyway, but wrongly or rightly, there would have been questions asked. 55 million for him. He wasn't that great, but the goal was kind of bailed him out a little bit of getting that kind of criticism.
Totally.
It's lucky. It's a bit lucky. Because I don't know how it doesn't hit Mings a bit cleaner. It kind of unsights Heaton a little bit. It looks like Mings is going to block it, but it just manages to just take the slightest of nicks and go through.
I don't know.
Annoying.
Does it go in anyway? I guess if Mings isn't there, then Heaton maybe.
I think if Heaton's got a clear view of it, he'd probably say it. It wasn't like it was lashed home with massive amount of power. It was very accurate. It was a good strike.
Yeah.
Very composed from the lad. But it looked a bigger deflection when I was there than it actually did on the telly when I watched it back.
And then the onslaught is really on then, and to me it feels like a matter of time.
Oh yeah.
At this stage.
Once they got to 1-1, I thought, oh, okay, Dolan's right.
About 75 minutes in, we start seeing the Villa players just looking absolutely exhausted. El Ghazi picks up a bit of cramp. A couple of other players kind of going down and just trying to slow the game down. Hotter, who's come on, gives a really cheap free kick away, and Christian Eriksen lines up, and that's the moment where I'm like, right, they've hero worshipped this guy. He's going to ping this free kick. Another brilliant save by Tom Heaton to keep us in it.
Yeah, this like the not being able to have your own players in the wall. The new rule change is quite interesting. It kind of like there's like in the Liverpool Norwich game, there's like two walls.
Yeah.
At one point, it's weird.
It is weird.
It's a really good save from Tom. I'm quite a fan of some of the new rule change. I like the fact that defenders can be in the penalty box now. It quickens the game up, and it like encourages teams to play out from the back a bit more rather than just go long. So I do like the rule changes.
We also had an uncontested drop ball. Did you enjoy that?
I don't remember.
Grealish basically has the ball, tries to pass it out wide to El Ghazi, I think it is, and it hits the referee.
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah,
and so he just gets the ball back again. A better rule, I think, than giving it back to their keeper or something like that.
I thought the audio had frozen then, but it just did a weird thing. But it's working.
Okay, good.
It's a great save from Tom Heaton, but at this point you start to think, have we been out of our half in the second half?
Yeah.
Obviously we had for the McGinn penalty shout,
but I think we'd only had that was our only touch in their box.
Well, we didn't have a corner all game.
No.
That's not great, is it?
It's not ideal. So Jack Grealish, Captain Jack, is pickpocketed by Eric Lamela for their goal on the edge of our own box. The ball ricochets, ends up at Kane's feet, who fires home from close range. He does what he does best.
Yeah, it's a mistake from Jack. Jack will know it was a mistake.
Tired.
He looked very annoyed with himself at the end of the game.
It's one of those tired things, isn't it? Like, you know yourself, whatever level you've played football, if you're dead on your feet, you're just not that quick, and he's just taken that extra second and been robbed.
I went out for a drink with his brother after the game, and first thing I said to him when I saw him was, "Clear the ball, Jack."
Yeah.
And he made a valid point. I thought, actually, I've tried to watch it because I recorded it in UHD. I've tried to watch it back and see if I can say anything. I can't really judge fairly, but he said, did he get a shout? Did someone call man on? I think that's a valid point.
I don't know. I feel like that's a bit excusey at that level.
I think basically Championship he probably gets away with taking an extra touch. Premier League against an elite side, he's been pickpocketed, hasn't he? But even after that, a few things happen that are hits Mings, hits Engels, and just lands so nicely for Harry Kane. I mean, you would have stuck that one away.
Yeah, totally.
Even on your left foot.
Did you see my sister's goal? Did you see it on my Twitter?
I couldn't see the video. I saw it, but I couldn't work out who the goalkeeper was.
The goalkeeper seemed to have come out.
Yeah.
And Lucy just bends this ball into the top corner.
I mean, she was buzzing.
It was a beautiful strike. She scored twice.
A passionate celebration, if I remember correctly.
She's a great footballer, much better than me.
Let's get her in the Villa View side for the next Villa on tour meeting.
For sure, she'll do some damage. And then Harry Kane seals the deal with a very composed finish.
I feel like you brushed over the fact that it landed so fortunately.
Well,
typical.
So I was speaking with an Arsenal fan at the time of it happening, and he was just like,
"Was an Arsenal fan around your house, or were you at the pub?"
Oh, just on WhatsApp.
Oh, okay.
Why is it? Am I not an Arsenal fan around my house?
Well, I didn't think you knew. Does he know there's an Arsenal fan that would be around his house watching the football?
You don't know everyone that I know.
That's true. I mean, I've been to events in your life, so I've met quite a lot of people that you know, in fairness.
James Stryber's at my barbecue, but he does have a torn ACL, so he didn't play the football or the cricket. He did play a bit of cricket.
No.
Anyway, so he's always like, Spurs are so jammy, everything falls to them. No, I just think that's football. You create your own luck, don't you?
No, you do. But it is lucky. Fair play to them. They bombarded us in the second half, fine. They deserve to win. I've got no qualms with that. But the fact it hits Mings, then hits Engels, then just lands right in front of Harry Kane, he ain't going to miss from there, is he?
I think that's why Harry Kane is so good, because he puts himself in the right position. It was
I'm not knocking Harry Kane. He's on his weaker foot as well. He tucked it away. He's a great player, and he has that August. I know he broke it last year, but Harry Kane barely ever scores in August, does he?
Yeah.
Had 2 against Villa there.
He scored 6 in 6 against Villa.
Yeah, I heard that. It's an unbelievable record. I don't feel like we've played against him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, yeah. When have we played? Anyway.
He's going to become the Premier League's all-time top goal scorer, Harry Kane.
I love the fact that he's English. It feels good, and I don't mind, obviously not against Villa, but I don't mind rooting for Harry Kane, because obviously he's done great things already for England, and it feels like he could lead us to be a better national team.
He's the closest thing we've had in England to a goal scorer, proper goal scorer, since Shearer.
Shearer, yeah.
I know, he reminds me, some things he does are a little bit, he's not as brute force as Alan Shearer. Decent free kick. Shearer used to bang in free kicks. He's good in the air. He's a composed finisher. He's not massively quick. He's just an intelligent player. He's got some similar traits to Shearer, without being as bruiserish as Shearer.
I think that's good.
We're lucky to have him in this country, and fair play to him, because you'd have never said 5-6 years ago that guy was going to become the best striker in England.
No, for sure. No. I mean, he was farmed out on loan quite a lot, wasn't he? And
he's on a bench.
He's one of these players that could have easily slipped through the net, kind of thing. It's such a fine line in professional football.
I actually think his Spurs career kicked off playing against us.
Yeah.
There was a game where Benteke got sent off.
Right.
And Harry Kane came on as a sub for Adebayor, I think, and he took a free kick in the last 5 minutes, and it took a deflection off the wall and flew in. And from then on, he's just been in the Spurs team.
One of those 6 and 6.
Since it was Pochettino's first ever game. Pochettino's first season as manager at Spurs, and he kind of stumbled upon Harry Kane, and he stayed there, and he's been there ever since. So we've set off Harry Kane's career, really. Harry Kane's career.
And he scores again on the 90th minute.
Clinical.
It was, wasn't it? It was just...
It's a lovely finish.
Just peak Harry Kane. So a tough loss, but lots of positives to take.
Yeah, I don't know why you'd come away feeling negative about that, other than the fact that once you get so far 1-0 up, you'd like to take something, and it would have been a bonus point or bonus 3 points in my eyes. But I think there's plenty to be positive about here. It's not like we went there and got absolute... Okay, we did get dominated, but got battered. Lost 5-0, 4-0. I mean, Man City went to West Ham on Saturday lunchtime. Established Premier League club now, top 10 Premier League club, West Ham. 5-0. Could have been 8 or 9. Like the elite teams, and let's face it, Tottenham are one of those elite teams now, in my opinion. I think Tottenham are arguably a super club now. Look at the facilities. They're only going to get better, Spurs.
I think they're going to be competing for the title. I don't think they'll get there, but I think they'll.
No, I think they'll be close this season as well. I mean, we'll come on to the predictions, but I see someone's put them not third. Someone's put them second, and I actually don't think that's a bad shout.
No, I agree. 2 players that we haven't talked about, and I want to bring up. I said at half-time that Wesley needed to be a bit more physical. He went to ground a lot early. He was looking for fouls, and he just... To me, he didn't do enough to hold up the ball. And I want to address something that social media to me feels so binary. It's like you're either fully behind the players or you're slagging them off. Now, I'm not slagging Wesley off.
Social media is like that, though.
It is, isn't it? So I'm not slagging Wesley off here. I'm just saying that he needs to learn how the Premier League plays. He needs to be a bit more physical. He's a big guy, and he's got a great touch and can bring people into the game. But for me, he went down too easy.
I mean, again, I'll put it down to the beers, but I don't really remember that.
Do you remember Wesley? Do you remember him doing much?
I think it's a tough gig when you're on your own up front in a game like
agreed.
that. It's a bit of a lost cause for him, really, isn't it? And again, it's his first game in this country of a competitive nature. I think it's a real tough gig, and I think it's really harsh to single him out and have a go at him. I know that's not what you're doing.
Yeah.
But it's his first game. The guy will be a handful. That first goal, I know it's not his assist, the Villa goal, but he's involved in it. He's disrupted their defence that much, and they're that bothered about him that McGinn's ended up going through unnoticed and put us ahead. And that's come from Wesley disrupting them.
And with the Trezeguet cross as well. If Wesley and Trezeguet on the right path there, that Wesley could score on his debut there with a nice header. You know, I as I say, I'm not getting on his back, but I think every time he did get the ball, often, not every time, often it ended up with him on the floor, kind of looking for something more. And if he just is ready to put himself about a bit more, then he's going to get the rub of the green and be able to play out with him.
He will get better. Dean Smith won't like that. The coaching staff won't like him doing that. They'll have watched the game back, the lads, and Dean Smith will have spoke to him afterwards, and I'm sure he will have said, "I'd like you to less of that, please, Wesley." It's a tough gig, as I've said, and we've just talked about Ndombele. It's his first game. Very rarely do you come to a new league from a different country, the Premier League, especially playing against a team like Spurs. You just hit the ground running. Yeah, it's very unfair to expect that of him. It's very, very unlikely to happen. He will get better. He'll be a handful. I've heard our players talking about how much of a handful he is in training. I think Mings has spoken about him a little bit. Once he gets that first goal, he gets used to the tempo. The tempo's in the Premier League it's very different. It's going to be different to Belgium. I can't pretend I've sat here and watched much Belgian football because I haven't. But I'm going to imagine the tempo's a lot quicker. The quality's going to be a lot better. He's up against two high-class centre-backs as well. Alderweireld is a Rolls Royce. He can just go through games without care in the world. Alderweireld, he's that good. Sanchez is one of the more physical and more athletic centre-backs he's going to come up against as well. He'll have better days than he had, but I don't think he did badly by any stretch of the imagination.
Again, I'm looking forward to seeing him against Bournemouth at home and seeing how he gets on. Villa Mad says not a great debut from Wesley and looks like it could take some time to settle into the physicality of the Premier League. Would you consider bringing in Davis to play alongside him? I get the feeling Davis is going to be a decent player if he has a run of games.
See, I think one mistake I would have is that Davis wasn't on the bench on Saturday. I think he would have alleviated the pressure.
Codger didn't do anything when he came on.
I saw someone else say this on social media, and apologies because it looks like I'm stealing what you said, but I was thinking this as well, and I can't remember who it was that said it. Codger's the kind of player you want to bring on when you need a goal. He came on at a point where the game was finally poised and you're protecting something.
Sure.
In that situation, I'd rather be seeing Keenan Davis come on. I didn't think Codger helped us coming on. I get why he had to come on. But I'd like to have seen Keenan Davis on the bench because I think in that kind of game, he'll hurt Spurs more than Codger will. He'll just get on their nerves. He'll hold the ball up and he'll bring people into play and he'll alleviate some pressure. Codger's not for me as a lone striker. I've said that a number of times.
Does it kind of give you the impression that Smith doesn't quite think that Davis is ready for that?
I don't know, because apparently Smith is really keen on Davis, really, really rates him.
Keen on Davis.
Yeah, nice. I did not mean to do that. He rates him very highly from what I hear, so I don't think it's down to that. He obviously thought, maybe he just thought, we'll probably be behind in this game, so if it's coming on him you need a goal, Codger's you're better than Davis, isn't he? Because we know Davis isn't a natural goal scorer from what we've seen of him. Just the way the game was poised, as it turned out, I think Davis would have been more useful to bring on.
Just want to get this comment in here. Lou_IZLS. Louisels. Wesley, don't understand all the criticism of the guy Wesley, don't understand all the criticism of the guy after Spurs. Instrumental in giving McGinn a free run on goal. Held the ball well. Yes, he needs to be stronger, but I feel he did okay for his first game here against one of the best sides in the Prem. Thoughts?
I mean, that's pretty much in line with what I just said.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair. And I look forward to seeing him in the next few games because hopefully he will have something to offer. Because the other comments coming in are we looking a bit thin? If Wesley doesn't hit the ground, we are looking a bit thin up front.
I'd have liked another striker. Me and you spoke on Thursday when we were travelling back from Manchester. We're a little, not disappointed because it feels harsh after the window we've had.
Sure.
We would have liked to have seen another striker come in. This is no ITK or anything like that. I've had a terrible summer for that kind of jazz. There's strikers available, isn't there? We're not necessarily not going to bring a striker in.
Sturridge still, like, would you like Sturridge?
I don't know whether where he is in his career is right for us.
Right.
In terms of I think he's 30 now, Daniel Sturridge. Is he that interested anymore? Has he got the motivation to play? He's not. I know he has a lot of injuries. He's a good player. He's not played for the last few years though. I kind of get the impression a move to America would be what he would want.
Right.
At this stage of his career. Lovely dog he's got. Lovely look. You see his dog.
You caught me by surprise there.
I followed his dog's Instagram since he got nicked. What a great dog. I've never seen a dog like that before.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Dolan, I don't know whether you listened last week. Obviously, you didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
I did it with Dolan. At that point, Dolan was saying Daniel Sturridge, and I was going, no, because I thought we'd buy a striker. I do think we need another striker.
Yeah, so do I.
I half wish, again, I'm not sure he's exactly the answer, but if Welbeck had remained available, because he can play wide, he's gone Watford because he can play wide as well, he might have been one I'd prefer. Not really a natural goal scorer again, but I think he's a more intelligent player than he gets credit for. Welbeck, Sturridge is a very good footballer when he's on it. That season they nearly won the league.
Brilliant.
I know Suarez was the one who got all the headlines, but Sturridge scored a lot of goals that season.
He can be a classy player, Sturridge.
He's from Birmingham.
Yeah.
I've heard, and this is fairly reliable, I've heard that we did have talks with him at some point in the summer, and we just didn't fancy it.
Right.
Whether the goalposts have moved, now it's come towards
and nobody else has come.
The end of the summer. I don't know, but I mean, he can't play at the moment. He got a 6-week ban for betting or something, didn't he?
Oh, right. I don't know that.
So maybe that's the reason he hasn't signed for someone. Although I'm sure you could still sign a player while they were under ban.
I think you have to. I mean, this might be wrong, but surely he has to sign for someone before the ban kicks in. Like, he wouldn't just. But just because games are happening doesn't mean that his ban would.
So you're saying that if we would sign him, he might have the 6-week ban then?
Potentially, yeah.
We don't know the ins and outs.
Or anything.
No.
Okay, so the next player, because we're at 46 minutes and we're still talking about football. It seems mad.
What a superb start to the podcast.
One thing.
It feels like the start, and he's 46 minutes in.
Yeah.
We've literally covered one thing.
Well, the other player that divides opinion and continues to divide opinion is.
I know what's coming in.
Is Conor Hourihane.
Oh, and no one's ever gonna.
No, so we're not going to dwell on this because you and I are famously Conor Hourihane fans here. Again, I don't want to take it out on social media, but it feels like we're looking for a scapegoat. Conor Hourihane will probably have had the hardest game he's ever played, I think, on Saturday. The amount of pressure that was on him at all times, and I think he did okay.
Why we have to have a scapegoat?
That's
why
exactly
why are we knocking anyone after coming very close to taking something off Spurs? Why is anyone getting knocked?
I just don't like Hourihane. There was one point where in the first half he hit a free kick straight into a one-man wall. Not a good free kick. I think he's going to look back on that and go, it was ugly. And it was.
Yeah, but he's not going to go. If you spoke to him about
that was pretty good.
He's not going to go, I was unfortunate there. He would say, yeah, that was gash.
Yeah, and interesting. And but from a defensive point of view, people are talking about why aren't we playing this guy, that guy. I thought he did a fine job considering he was up against it for 80 minutes of that game.
I always got the impression under Steve Bruce that he lacked loyalty to certain players. And Hourihane did well for Bruce the first the season we nearly went up. Hourihane did well for him. Next season, as soon as McGinn came in, Hourihane's just out. I like that Dean Smith showed a bit of loyalty to some of the people that got us up last year.
Yeah.
I think that shows the class of the man. And if you look at it, when Conor was on the pitch, it's 1-1. Conor goes off, 8 minutes left. We lost 3-1. I think he did a better job defensively than he'll get credit for.
Yeah, that's my
again,
point.
I think he might be one of those players that's perhaps a home player.
Right.
Won't usually play in the away games. You'd expect Louise, a more defensive-minded player, to maybe play away from home. But he'd only been with the squad a couple of days.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know where Marvellous was. He wasn't on the bench, was he?
No, he wasn't.
So Conor's playing. Dean Smith's kept the faith in him. Dean Smith's a massive fan of Conor. He just signed a new contract.
His shirt to lose.
What did he do wrong?
That's
other than a free kick into the wall.
Yeah, exactly. From a defensive point of view, I don't think he did that much. There may have been a couple of balls that went awry, but tell me a player that didn't make a couple of mistakes.
I remember him cutting things out, particularly in the first half because he was near him. I remember him cutting things out defensively.
Good. I don't think there's much more to dwell on.
Also met his family on Saturday, and lovely people.
Good.
Lovely people.
Dean Smith said after the game, we want to be competitive in this league. Next week we'll be walking out of Villa Park, but we'll be doing so with 0 points, and that's something we have to work on. The better team won on the day in the second half. We were perhaps unfortunate with the goals. Their physicality shone through in the end. We're always learning lessons. Today's game has set a standard for us. I think that's right, isn't it?
Fair comment. Agree with everything he said.
Jude Aston, having seen our performance against Spurs for 70 minutes, do you feel we have enough for the rest of the season, as we won't come up against that kind of quality of Spurs every week?
I think you've just got to go in with the same intensity that we did in that first half in the other games. I think we'll be okay.
Brett Leader, while we did okay against Spurs, I think we need to judge after game 2. What do we say if Bournemouth do us over? I think it's still too early. If we lose to Bournemouth, but there's still a long season left to play.
Yeah, if we lost again on Saturday, it's very easy to then become a bad run, isn't it?
Yeah.
You might lose the week after to Everton, and suddenly you're in a crisis. That's the nature of how the football works now. You lose a few games, you'll be in the paper saying the manager's under pressure and what. I don't think Dean Smith is under pressure. I think Dean Smith gets the season regardless.
Yeah.
I think that Purslow, from what Purslow said yesterday and everything, I think they're all one and they're all in it together, and they all get it. And I'm happy for Dean Smith to have the season. Whatever happens, like you say, it's too early. We might lose to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but Bournemouth have been in the Premier League the last 3 years. We haven't. So 4 seasons. This is Bournemouth's 5th season in the Premier League now. They're an established Premier League side. They've got some good players.
Good manager.
Another team that plays football the right way. I do think they can be got at defensively. Bournemouth.
Definitely.
They've signed a few players, but I've always thought, well, they can be got out at the back.
Make no mistake. I think we need to be targeting the Bournemouth at home games and going for 3 points there.
And we will.
But if we lose, it's not a crisis. JV says, great to have Tom J says back. Always a good way to get your name
have you shoehorned that into the note?
into the great way to get yourself on the podcast. Would you say the Bournemouth game is a must-win/draw? I mean, it's one that we definitely want to win, but if we lose it, then we shouldn't be falling into a crisis.
No, don't panic.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, listen to Bob Marley, three little birds or three birds, whatever it's called today. Don't worry about a thing. Everything, just chill. Everything's going to be all right. We're all right.
Great to have Tom J says back. What do you think?
I mean, I like working with both of you.
Okay, good.
It's great to have you doing the notes, so I don't have to do it.
Enjoy
Definitely.
That. Good stuff. What do you want to do now? Do you want to go to Christian Purslow, or do you want to talk about predictions?
It's been a bit heavy. Let's do some predictions.
Yeah, okay.
Let me get my notepad out.
You get your notes out. So we talked about this last week, the week before. Our Premier League and
last week I took charge of the actual result predictions for August. I'm taking charge of that, doing a spreadsheet.
I actually went for Spurs 3-1, I believe.
Did you? Well, you're off to a good start, aren't you?
I think I did. I mean, I might be wrong in that, but
I think you might have done as well. To be fair,
yeah.
What do you maybe 2-1?
Not sure.
No.
We'll work on that. Anyway, right. So predictions. Let's start from the top. Premier League top 6. Do you want to go first?
Can do. Obviously,
we'll rattle through this because we're already at 51 points.
That's all right, mate. Don't worry.
51 points, 51 minutes.
I'll be happy if we're at 51 points.
Yeah, sure.
I tell you. City to win the league, Liverpool 2nd, Spurs 3rd, Man U 4th, Arsenal 5th. I've gone with a wild card Leicester at 6th, but that does feel very heavy based on the fact Chelsea lost 4-0, which was not what I wanted to do in my predictions.
Yeah. So everyone across the board, so this is for me, Dan and Chris. Everyone's gone City at the top. Me and Dan Rolinson have also gone for Liverpool, Spurs 2nd and 3rd, and Dolan switched them around. He's gone Spurs 2nd, Liverpool 3rd, which I could see happening.
I don't think that's a bad shout. Liverpool were very fortunate with injuries last season, and they've already picked up not a bad injury, but an injury that they didn't get last season in losing the goalkeeper.
Yeah, Alisson.
For a few games. So
I've gone
Alisson. Well, he's not French, mate.
No, but that's how they say, isn't it? Alisson.
I thought it was just Alisson.
Okay, maybe. I've got Manchester United in 4th. I'm not sure why I've done that, really. I think the next kind of 3 or 4 are a bit confusing for me, and I think Manchester United beating Chelsea has maybe got into my head. So I've got Manchester United, Arsenal, then Wolves, because I just couldn't see who's going to finish 6th, and I think it's going to be a surprise.
Would you not be? You don't think Chelsea then?
No, I don't. I think they're going to. They're going to struggle this season.
I'm not having yours and Dolan's 6th place.
So Chris has also gone for Wolves in 6th. He's gone for Arsenal, Manchester United, then Wolves. And Rolo has gone for Arsenal 4th, Manchester United 5th, and Chelsea in 6th. I just think that's too. I just don't think it's going to finish like that this year. Obviously,
I'm not having the Wolves 6th. The Europa League will be a distraction. They've not added a lot, which in some ways I get. In other ways, you would think. I mean, I think he might have faith in his academy actually, and some of the younger players are going to play in the Europa League. We haven't got this down in the predictions, but I'm going to say I think Wolves will win the Europa League.
Right.
Yeah. Put that on the record.
As I say, I think it was hard to get the last one. No, okay. I'm not going to keep these bits of paper.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what I was expecting you to just get them in a folder.
Pull them out.
Get them in a folder, ready for next
ready
season.
for Cyberdon Blue to bid on them. Yes. All right, let's go. Premier League bottom 3. Who's getting relegated?
What I did here was I went with what I originally thought before the games kicked off.
Right.
So 18th Brighton doesn't look too clever when they've gone to Watford and won 3-0, but I'm going to stick with it. Palace 19th, Newcastle 20th. So I've gone with none of the promoted teams going down.
So I've gone for Newcastle and Palace like you, but I've also gone.
I think Palace are stagnating, and I think they've not bought enough.
Zaha is their lifeline. Zaha, if he stays and is happy, he might just do enough, but who knows? I think if they're struggling around January, somebody's going to swoop for him. So I've gone for Newcastle, Crystal Palace. I've also gone for Norwich, which I think is slightly harsh, but my mum is from Southampton, and I couldn't face upsetting her.
I think Norwich and Sheffield United will do enough at home to stay up, and I also think we'll do enough at home to stay up as well.
So Dan Rolinson has gone for two of the promoted sides to go down, not us. Sheffield United, Norwich City and Burnley, while
Burnley won't go down.
Chris Dolan has gone for Newcastle, Norwich and Sheffield United also.
So has Rolinson not put Newcastle in there?
No.
I mean, they feel like no-brainers to me to go down again. I feel it's very reminiscent of the season we went down. Yeah. I know they came with us that season, but it feels very reminiscent.
Premier League top goal scorer, who you got?
I've gone for Harry Kane.
Yeah.
If he plays every game. Aguero always gets injured, doesn't he?
Aguero. There's a lot of choice at Man City now as well.
Aguero will play though once he's fully up to speed.
I've gone for Mo Salah. Dan Rolinson has gone for Raheem Sterling, and Chris Dolan's gone for Aubameyang. So
not a bad shout from Dolan. I'm liking Dolan's prediction so far.
Dolan for Premier League Player of the Year, and Rolo have gone for Raheem Sterling Player of the Year. What have you gone for?
Harry Maguire.
Interesting.
I thought everyone was raving about him on Saturday like he was the best thing ever.
United have to have a good season for him to be Player of the Year.
Not necessarily.
They
Scott Parker won Player of the Year once, and I think West Ham finished 13th or whatever.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to be the big boy.
I think with Man U you do. I've gone for Kevin De Bruyne. I feel like everything is going to be the kind of return of De Bruyne this year. It's just going to be his year.
Fantastic player. One of my favourite players, De Bruyne.
Who have you gone for Young Player of the Year?
Ooh. Oh, I've gone niche here. Tillemans at Leicester.
Oh.
I think it's under 23, isn't it?
Yes.
Tillemans is under 23. How none of the big six have gone in for him, I do not know.
It went under the radar,
player.
didn't it?
He's
just
an
moved
unbelievable player. Did nothing for me in my fantasy team at the weekend. But he is a very, very good player, Tillemans, and he'll be at Leicester a year or two, and he'll be off to Man U or somewhere like that.
Rolo has gone for Marcus Rashford. Chris Dolan's gone for David Brooks from Bournemouth. And I've gone
shout from Dolan.
Yeah,
that
he is.
He's a very good player, Brooks.
I had to Google his first name, but Dolan just sent me Brooks.
No, David Brooks is a very good player.
I've gone for Phil Foden.
I don't think he'll play enough games.
Yeah, that's it. He has, but I feel like Guardiola trusts him.
But he always comes on for about 5 minutes.
Let's see what happens. I've just got a feeling.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, these all look as they look now, but realistically in 12 months on, we could all look stupid or we could all look really clever.
Who's going up? Give me them all at the same time.
I've got Leeds 1, Brentford 2, playoffs Cardiff.
Yeah, we've all gone for Leeds to win.
I think this is their year.
Yeah, I've gone.
The biggest side of the Championship's gone.
I've gone Leeds, Derby, and then Swansea to go up through the playoffs.
Swansea?
Roller, yeah, I like Swansea.
I don't even know who their manager is.
Do you know what? I knew you were going to say that. It is Cooper, and he was.
I don't know anything about him.
So I googled him earlier. He was at the England setup. No, he was at Liverpool. Did a lot of stuff bringing through their youngsters. Then was at the in the England under-17 setup. Took them to the final. Like I feel like he's going to bring through
Did he ever manage a club before?
Young players. He managed at Wrexham before, which obviously Dean Smith was at a long time ago.
Dean Smith has never been at Wrexham, has he?
What did I add? Walsall. Yeah, sorry. No, I've got all that wrong. Cooper was at Wrexham. See, I've deviated from the notes here.
This is the problem with you.
I've got carried away. So I've gone, Leeds, Derby, Swansea.
I feel that's rattled you, that
segment. It totally has. Ronaldo's Leeds, West Brom and Brentford. And Dolan's gone for Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday and Fulham. I think Sheffield Wednesday will
he's probably what he's done there is they've won their first 2 games.
Yeah.
Better play to the
Fulham in the playoffs as well. All right. FA Cup.
What kind of order is this in? I've gone for Man City.
Okay, Dolan's gone for Chelsea. I've gone for Man City. Rolo's gone for Arsenal. League Cup.
Spurs.
Dolan's gone for Everton. Rolo's gone for Villa. Why not? And I've gone for Everton as well.
Oh, Everton coming up trumps there.
Yeah.
Not what you would expect.
Good luck to Everton. Champions League winner.
I've put Real Madrid here, but now I'm going to change to Barcelona.
Rolo's gone Barcelona. Dolan's gone City. I've gone Juventus. And I've just gone Ronaldo for top scorer and Ballon d'Or.
Ballon d'Or's Van Dijk nailed on, so you've messed up there.
Oh, I didn't really think that it's
in December, isn't it?
It's December.
You have messed up there. You can't change it now. Even though I've just changed Real Madrid to Barcelona on mine. You can't change that.
All right.
What was the other question?
I don't know. Top scorer.
I've gone Mane. That's adventurous. That's bold.
Dolan's gone for Griezmann, top scorer, Ballon d'Or, Hazard. and
he's done the same as you.
Yeah, Dan
He's not
Rolinson's
thought
gone
about
for
it.
both Messi.
No
both
one's gone for Van Dijk Ballon d'Or.
No.
Well, that's a big win for me there.
Not thought about it.
He's 100% going to win that. Last year, we all picked Modric as Ballon d'Or because it was like obvious that he was in with a decent shout. Van Dijk must be the favourite for the Ballon d'Or if you looked at the odds.
All right, to Villa predictions
Say
then.
about Barcelona.
We don't have time. Villa, where you putting Villa in the league?
12th.
Okay, this is interesting. Rollo's gone 13th, I've gone 14th, and Dylan's gone 15th.
Look forward to Villa finishing 11th.
Yeah, well, that'd be fine.
Yeah.
I'd be quite happy. I've gone for Wesley for top goal scorer, so has Rollo.
So,
And Chris Dolan's gone for McGinn. Interesting.
see what you say. If we're to do well, McGinn and Grealish need to get somewhere near double figures.
I thought that, but then I thought if we're going to stay up, then we need a striker that's going to score.
I've gone for Wesley
12,
top scorer
15.
with 11 goals.
Yeah,
I always like to chuck in. No one else likes to join me, but I always like to chuck in how many goals the top scorer is going to do.
Okay. Yeah,
Do I get a bonus if I pull that off?
Sure.
Okay.
A bonus what? There's nothing here.
Bonus point.
We don't...
Yeah, but we can't judge who does the best at the end of it. Otherwise, it's absolutely pointless us doing it.
Wow, yeah.
What's the point?
What is any other point?
Wasted 10 minutes on the podcast.
All right, Villa Player of the Year. I've gone for Mings. Dolan's gone for Mings.
Yeah.
You've gone for...
Thomas Heaton.
Right. And Rollo's gone for McGinn. And Young Player of the Year. I've gone for Davis because it was really a toss-up for me between Davis and Konsa because I didn't see too many other choices.
Not a bad shout,
but he's not going to play.
That
Is
partnership, I would be surprised if it gets broken up.
Unless,
looking at it on Saturday.
Unless injuries, yeah. So I've gone for Davis, so's Rollo. Chris Dolan's gone for Matty Target.
Does he qualify for young player?
That's what I thought, yeah.
Mind you, I've put Gilbert and I've realised I don't actually know how old he is.
Right.
I thought he was like about 21.
I think he's 23. That's my guess.
Oh well,
Don't know.
Can't change it now.
Can't change it, it doesn't matter.
How old he is quickly.
So there you go.
What's his first name? Frederick.
Good that we both went
What's his
for
first name?
Van Dijk as Ballon d'Or winner. That's good, that.
Yeah. No, he didn't.
I thought I'd try and catch you out.
No. Someone's going to have to make a note of these.
Gilbert.
Gilbert
I've got it.
is... Doesn't want to know.
24.
Oh, I'm
no
a
chance.
stinker.
And he's turning 25 this year. Not even close.
Oh, that's a bad one. Oh, that's disappointing,
Not
isn't it?
even
I
close.
thought he was younger than that. Gilbert.
No.
That's disappointing.
Sorry, mate.
Never mind.
Tough break.
That kind of negates the Van Dijk certainty. The fact that I picked a player that's not even going to qualify.
Never mind. I'm sure it'll be fine. Let's move on. Christian Purslow was on Sky Sports last night.
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yep, I did.
It was good, wasn't he?
Very, very impressive. Felt like he was getting a real grilling.
Yeah, it was.
She was going for him, wasn't
Yeah.
she? And I thought he batted it all away fantastically.
I thought it was a textbook answer, not just because he was good at his PR and he was good at getting out of questions. He answered them head on because he knew everything about the club. It was just exactly what you wanted to see from one of your chiefs.
In some ways, obviously, I'm glad it was this because he's Villa's CEO, but it's almost annoying how like precise he was. And like, I don't know whether he had any prep before of what was coming, but he's just so measured in what his responses are and just seemed to know the right thing to say, which is very good for Villa. But I wish I was that measured and consistent.
It feels a world away, doesn't it, from the winess and the kind of more casual attitude, which is not to say that there's something wrong with being casual in the right circumstances, but to have the guy that's in charge of all your money, in charge of how everything is run, to be so razor sharp is
What was he
brilliant.
doing there?
I don't know. I was going to ask you that. I thought you might know.
So that Sky seemed aghast themselves that they'd managed to get a current Premier League CEO in the hot seat live on Sky Sports. I presumed he was doing the debate or something in the evening, but he wasn't.
Oh, he never would have done
when I
that.
checked, he used to do it, I think.
Did he?
Before he was Villa CEO, I'm pretty sure.
What, at Liverpool?
He did. Well, just when he was not anywhere.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I don't think you could do it.
No, but he obviously built some good relationships at Sky because he used to come into Sky Sports News quite a lot when he was out of a job.
Yeah,
and come in and talk.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. Lovely Villa tie as well.
Yeah, I like that.
I've got that tie.
Have you?
Yeah, Tails gave it me.
Oh,
Yeah,
very nice.
The only nice things he's ever done.
If you haven't seen it, I've got a couple of quotes here. So talking about money, it's a lot of money, and I'm incredibly grateful to our owners. But a couple of important points. Firstly, at the end of last season, we had 12 players leave Villa, so we'd have been starting with 10 had we not brought people in. With or without promotion, Dean Smith and Jesus Garcia-Patach came to Aston Villa with a certain knowledge we will be rebuilding our club this summer. Villa have had a plan all the way through, and all this Fulham nonsense is nonsense.
It is nonsense, as I said to Adam Smith at the Manchester last week. I think he was annoyed worried about.
He wasn't best pleased. He took it out on me.
Yes, he did. Yeah. I don't know whether anyone watched our appearance on the big Premier League debate. It was on Sky Bet's YouTube with Neville and Carragher, and Tom didn't speak the whole time.
There was one point where they come to Dan. So basically, Matt Smith, who was hosting it,
Adam Smith.
Smith.
This is why he didn't speak.
Matt Smith was the old Doctor Who. Anyway, Adam Smith, whatever his name is. Why should I know his name? He doesn't know mine.
Baby helps.
He knew Dan's name, so went straight to Dan. And then at one point, he looks at me, nods, because I've got my hand raised, ready to raise a second question.
They never said at any point, raise your hand if you want to say something.
No, but it was just a
school.
I want to speak, and he just goes, and then goes, all right, let's hear from Newcastle fans.
But do you think that when he gave that nod, the Newcastle fans were sat in front of you? Do you think he was just do you think he was nodding at the Newcastle fans to say you're next, and you just took it the wrong way?
I think he's just mugged me off completely. Anyway, it is nonsense what we're talking about. Purslow goes on to say, we bought a goalkeeper at 33, Tyrone Mings at 26, and the rest of the 10 are all 24 and under. Young
players 24.
Yeah,
bang on.
True. Young players, we hope, will establish themselves in the Premier League and in doing so grow their value. So far from being a liability, we're trying to invest in assets that grow their value to protect the future financial health of our football club. It's just music to a fan's ears that there's a long-term strategy. Not necessarily that we're going to sell our assets, but the fact that we're not just buying people to plug holes at this stage.
No, I mean, it reminds me a bit of the Villa engine that we incorporated a few years ago.
That was great. What a great system that was.
I would like to know what was in that document, or if there even was a document. I don't think I'm going to go with no, there wasn't one.
Running on fumes at that point, weren't we? Sean Rowland says, what do you think of, or in my case, how much did you love the interview with Purslow on Sky, and how much do you think he's had a personal impact on the club's strategy and vision? Were you surprised at the passion he showed in the interview? To take the first part of that question, I think he's got everything to do with the strategy and vision. I think it's obviously a wider thing, but I think he's driving it forward.
I think he absolutely smashed that interview. Occasionally, when I've done things, you walk away and think, I did very well there. He definitely walked away from that last night thinking, I was on top form.
Yeah.
Even when she asked him about John McGinn's contract, he went, that's the first bad question you've asked me. And of course, the CEO is involved in a player's multi-million-pound contract negotiations.
And it was a stupid question.
Just the way he batted it away was so good.
He does it with a smile, doesn't he? Like just a kind of little lip curl.
Because people were tweeting me and messaging me saying, Purslo's getting annoyed here. I didn't feel like he was getting annoyed. I think he was just revelling in the fact that he was dealing with everything that was coming his way. Because she was even acting like she was grilling him, what Vicky Gomez saw, wasn't she? She was sorry to keep pushing and blah blah blah, but he absolutely smashed it.
I think he would have. She would have had something in her ear, somebody just saying like, push him on this, push him on this, and he just, like you say, he just batted it away.
Do you know what? The fact that he can do that so comfortably tells you that the plan is real.
And exactly. He knows every facet of what's going on, and that's a real nice thing to see. Robert Parker says Christian Purslow gave another fantastic interview on Sky Sports last night. However, he spoke about aiming to finish just outside the top 6. I don't want him to kill the good vibes, but would he be better served trying to manage fan expectations?
I thought he was more like he was saying that would be the high end of where we could finish.
Which is very high end, isn't it?
But it can be done. Wolves did it last year. Like, it can be done. You're not going to finish top 6, are you?
No.
The top 6 is probably although we've all predicted different teams, it's pretty much set in stone, isn't it?
The top 4 or 5, yeah.
The 6, I'd say 1 to 8 would be the teams you would probably expect. But
do you know what the point? Sorry to interrupt you. The point I wanted to make on the big fan debate was,
what have we ended up back there?
Because you look at the the bottom 12, I feel like Villa can beat any of those teams, which kind of serves your point that the top 8 are kind of settled. But I just wanted to make that point finally because I didn't want you to steal it off me again.
I didn't steal anything.
No, you didn't. No, that's not fair either. Although
I would say at some point we're going to beat a big team this season.
Yeah, the second question of the big fan debate thing, where I had it all laid out about...
He's getting way too much airtime now.
Jack Grealish's future. Again, Smithy comes to you and he's like, Dan, you got a question? And you're just there...
Because he knew
because you
name.
Didn't have a question in your head. You robbed me of my...
I did have a question in my head, but it had already been covered. Because he said, this is an excellent question. And I was thinking, we've submitted 6 questions between us, so which question is he actually expecting me to say here? And then I thought, this has been a bit top 6 heavy. I want to actually talk about Villa with Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. So I went with the one that was most precise to Villa.
Did you have enough time talking with them?
Oh, it was great, mate.
Oh, yeah,
Two excellent pundits, people who were great at what they do. It was a joy.
Wish I'd been there.
Gary Neville was in a bad mood, though, wasn't he?
He was. Yeah, he needed to get away.
Grumpy Gary.
Anything else you want to mention about Christian Purslow?
No, I mean, as we had in your notes that we put down that it was great to have Tom J. Sayers back. I'd just like to point out someone compared me to Purslow on Twitter earlier.
How?
In the way I talk.
The passion.
Off the back of my article that I did for Under a Gaslit Lamp. If you want to go and read that and look at their content, please do. What he has said, I went on Radio 5 last week, and this show has been name drop and show drop central, by the way, without Dolan here as well, which is rare. I did say a lot of the things that Purslow said.
Yeah,
which is refreshing as well.
Yeah, I mean, he does have a kind of a fan feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, he says it in a much more precise and articulate way than me rocking up there with a Brummie accent.
Very good. The Carabao Cup draw is tonight.
Has it maybe been done now?
No, it's after the game, after Salford City versus Leeds.
I've smashed the Salford. There's a new Salford documentary out, isn't there? I've watched all 4 episodes. Very good, worth a watch.
So Villa will be in that draw because they're not obviously in Europe this year. So 13 Premier League clubs in that draw. It's divided into north and south, isn't it? Villa in the north. So yeah, fond memories of that cup last year.
0-0 Salford.
Did very well last year, didn't we?
Yeah, lovely to go to Burton and get beat, isn't it?
Yeah, Adoma missed the penalty.
What was the horrible go to Yeovil away as well? It was just horrible, and Conor scored near the end, I think.
Yeah, up the Villa 5-6-6. Do you think we should go for the League Cup and FA Cup this season? I reckon we should, but I want your thoughts on
Absolutely. I got hammered in the Championship for saying we shouldn't go for the cups because we have more important things to worry about. The cup now is there for us to go for, League Cup and FA Cup. Also, there's less games than we used to after the last 3 seasons. Go for both cups. I want to win something. I know we won the playoff final. I want to get I'll say a proper honour. You know what I mean. I want to win a cup.
A major trophy.
I want to win a cup, yeah. Why not go for them? Although Man City bloody win everything, don't they? So in some ways it's futile.
Yeah.
Because they won the League Cup and the FA Cup last year. They didn't they, Man City?
Yeah.
And the League. They won a treble.
Yeah,
They're annoying, aren't they?
They are a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But they're going to be going for Champions League big time this year.
They were going for the Champions League big time the last few years. They've still won all the domestic trophies.
Very true. A couple of quick kit questions. Ash Lockyer, could you pair of fine gentlemen do a size guide on the new Kappa shirt? Do I go for an elite or regular? And if so, what size? FYI, I'm slim build, but want people to know I do biceps once a fortnight.
Did he say that?
Yeah.
Quite the comedian. Yeah. Let me say, that guy's got the body of an Adonis.
Has he?
What a guy. He doesn't look it, but he's built.
Is he?
Yeah,
I wouldn't have said that. I do like Ash. Very
absolute
nice
machine. 10-pack on the go.
Really?
Yeah, mate.
So are you saying elite fit for this guy?
Well, I've got an elite fit.
Then you're not an Adonis.
No, man, people were saying I was looking good in the elite fit on Saturday, I'll have you know.
Come on.
Right, someone tweeted me. Can you tweet me again and tag Tom in it, please?
Is this like the time where we
I don't look like Ash would look in it.
When people come up to us at the football and slag off Villa on tour and stuff, but they say, oh, but your guys are great, and obviously do the same thing to Villa on tour.
I can ask Max about that, because a few people came up to me on Saturday and said, oh, I love what you do. I don't like Villa on tour. And I always think, why can't you just like us without having to slag off Villa on tour? And I'm sure the same thing probably happens.
So they go to you, oh, yeah, you look great in the elite fit. Sure, Tom doesn't look great in the elite fit, which I probably don't.
No one said that.
No, true. But then they'll come to me and go, oh, that Dan looks terrible. So what size for Ash Lockyer?
Elite fit for sure. Probably a medium.
Nice.
Yeah.
Highest compliment indeed.
Probably a medium for the guy. He's a bit tight though, Ash. Earns a good wage, but I tell you, he doesn't like splashing the cash.
Oh, wow,
he doesn't like splashing the cash.
So on the other side of that, K2 Villa, how do you feel about the problems fans are reporting with the replica kits? So there has been a lot of issues with, one, the sizes, but two, the badges are on wonky. The
that's
stitching looks terrible.
The sizes is what it is. Kappa are renowned for having a tighter shirt.
Isn't it? Like
the Under Armour shirts were very.
But to be two sizes out, that seems mad. Especially for football fans.
This I've got now is a
generous
small.
Carriage.
This I've got now is a small. The Macron special.
Right.
That's a small. So I can get away with a small in most kits.
Yeah.
To be fair.
But that would be a large.
Elite fit, I'm a large. But in Under Armour, I had one of the player issue shirts, and that's a large.
But even in the non-player issue, in the non-elite, people are going 2 sizes up.
That suggests to me people have had a good summer.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay, because you don't have one of those though.
No, but I'd imagine I'd be a medium.
But you haven't
If I'm
tried
getting
well.
into a large elite fit, I'd imagine I'd be a medium in the normal.
Right. Okay.
Small in the macro.
The other issue that we've had, and we've had for
What's that
for the
one that
last,
you've got on there? What size is that?
it's like the old size is like 38
again,
or
I'm
whatever it is.
a small in them and could probably do with an extra small. Well, that's a large, Tom.
This was given to me.
Yeah?
This was the one that was given to me.
That's one I'm missing, actually, in my collection.
Well, we'll talk off air.
Yeah.
The other problem is, and we've
I don't
seen
want
it
a large.
for the last couple of the last couple of seasons, is that we seem to run out of kits. all the time.
Again, that is shambles.
And we've
Absolute
already
shambles.
run out of kits. That seems a bit mad.
Have a lot been recalled as well, haven't they?
Well, yeah,
the away
because,
ones.
because they're awful stitching and awful printing.
This is a blow for my birthday plans. I wanted
dear.
the away shirt for my birthday.
But you don't want it all cocked up.
Well, no, I'd rather have it proper, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just state the obvious. Yeah, don't. Yeah, you know what?
But it's not good enough. I think
It looks counterfeit.
I kind of I want to kind of talk to K2 Villa's actual point. Is
That's a
that
shambles.
That is terrible.
I'm
And
not surprised by it, but it's a shambles.
we talk about how professional Christian Purslow is and all that kind of stuff, but this is basic stuff. The Villa have been producing kits for years and years and years. How is this not?
I said the other week, it was just for some reason why ours is the last kit in the country to come out. As well, do you remember the year with Nike? Like, it didn't come out until October.
Yeah.
Because they messed up.
And
We've never got that right.
we don't seem to have a strategy as well for the kit launch. The whole thing seemed to be messed up with Tyrone Mings as well. We talked about that. But then the away kit was a bit later, and then the third kit will come out in a bit.
I can
and
kind of get that you don't bring them all out at the same time. That's sensible because you want to maximise your
it's
profits.
commercially sensible. Yeah.
But I don't feel that that's the
But I
reason.
don't-
That's not the reason we've done it. It's because they're not ready.
I don't think other clubs do that. No, I don't have any basis.
No,
of
they
fact
do.
on that.
Arsenal only announced their third kit yesterday.
But third kit is different, I would say.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, fair.
Anyway, there you go. So it is a shambles, and it doesn't reflect well on the club. And
I'd go as far as to say it's unforgivable.
for all the good things that Purslow and the coaching staff
It's not
are doing.
directly Perslow's fault, though, that.
No, that wasn't
okay.
what I was going to say.
Okay.
For all the good things that those guys are doing, this is a bit of a stain on the rest of the way that the club's moving forward.
Interesting to know what kit the players wear. I got one of Connor's shirts from last season, the Luke ones, and the fans and the player ones are exactly the same. And he wears an extra small shirt, which I can just about squeeze into, although it's not flattering at all. What size like Mings is wearing in a Kappa Elite fit? What do you
I'd say
reckon?
large.
Is that large as well?
Yeah.
He's just looking better than me in it. Yeah.
Sorry to say.
He's a big guy as well, he's a tall guy.
Yeah.
He's got more muscles than me.
That's for sure. We should probably finish
Probably didn't need to point that out.
Probably
People
finish.
People probably realised.
on that. Anything else you want to say?
I'll say thank you to the people that came up and said nice things to me on Saturday. Always a pleasure to speak to all the Villa fans. Loved it. Amazes me that people want photos and things like that. I loved Saturday. I know we lost.
Yeah.
But I loved Saturday.
I
Had
got
such
that.
a good time.
I
Great
got
away day.
For a few of your tweets, I think you could tell you'd had a couple of beers. You're
When I got home.
You're quite emotional when you're tweeting.
I just love the club, mate. I know you do. I'm not saying you don't.
Yeah.
But I love away days.
I
don't go away every week, so like I probably go to 6 or 7 a season.
not a usual face.
Away from home, I'm not one of the same
old
faces.
faces. Got it wrong.
No. Hashtag usual face. Yeah. let's get that one trending.
Usual
I'll
faces.
tweet it tomorrow. Just hashtag usual face. I can't wait to put that in my pre-podcast tweet next week.
Don't need it, do I?
But you just see some great people.
Yeah.
I just love them. It's just, I think I used the word, it's just so pure.
I could hear the slurriness of you kind of
Yeah, it's
talking
probably
it out to yourself as you typed
I
it.
was spelling all over the place.
The spelling seemed fine.
Oh, was it okay? That's
Yeah.
a surprise.
I should say Simon Back got in touch. Simon Back, a lovely guy, lovely family, lovely mother-in-law, who's a big fan.
Big fan of yours.
Big fan of mine.
I met Gemma. I can't remember her second name. This fella's a Spurs fan on Saturday. She's a big fan of you.
She's
Big fan of weird socks as well.
She didn't want a picture with me. She just wanted a picture of me, which I thought was very awkward. And she just got a picture of me like this. It's not great. So Simon Back says, it's my father-in-law Alan's birthday, and
We don't know much about the father-in-law. do
No,
we?
we've not heard much about the father-in-law.
10 points if you can get his mother-in-law's name.
Well,
You've just raved about it. You don't know her name, do you?
I don't think I've ever been told her name.
I've met her a couple of times and I don't know her name.
So
apologies.
It's Alan's birthday, and he's also a big fan of mine, which is interesting.
Oh, did he actually say hi, Tom? Is this a private message, or
Yeah.
did this get? Oh, this is a DM.
Yeah.
Sliding into the DMs.
Sliding in. Would you be so kind as to do him a birthday message? He's a lovely guy. There you go, Alan. Your son-in-law is a fan.
This guy takes the opposite stance with in-laws that I take. Really nice to them. That is the opposite of how I go.
He's a lovely guy, and his surname is Partridge, but he tries not to dwell dwell on that for obvious
It's called Alan
reasons.
Partridge. Yeah. Fantastic.
So we're not dwelling on that.
Sorry.
But happy birthday, Alan Partridge. Aha!
We're not dwelling on it. I knew you'd do that.
Happy birthday, Alan. Your son-in-law is a ledge, as is his boy as well. So great family. Hopefully the Villa will give you a birthday win against Bournemouth.
You keep on with this Alan Partridge style, you'll get hired by Villa, mate. You won't go far wrong.
The final thing that I got to say is you may have noticed on the Villa View that there are a few new graphics kicking
Rollo's
about.
loving the graphics, isn't he?
Yeah.
Suddenly remembered we've got a Twitter account. There's things going on.
So he's up in his game once again, Rollo, but it's not without some support. So I just wanted to give a shout out to A Villa Visual, Thinkysaurus and Grant Liddell. They all do various bits and pieces as part.
I thought just one guy doing it.
No. So
Okay.
A Villa Visual does the graphic design. Thinkysaurus does the thumbnail templates, and Grant Liddell is doing the lower third
There's a
animation.
bit of a disagreement over the new podcast thumbnails, wasn't there? We all like
Yeah.
it. Rollo was not happy. There was two designs, and me, Dolan, and Julian all went for the same one, and Rollo wanted the other one, and he was not happy.
Yeah.
He threw his toys out the pram a little bit.
I mean, Rollo, it's your ship. You do what you want at the end of the day, but don't put it up for public vote.
I was half expecting him to just go against us all, to be honest. You can imagine him sat at home thinking, after those three now. They know about graphics.
Yeah, there you go. So that's it. The first Premier League podcast with a Premier League game.
Yeah, fair play if you've stuck with us for an hour and 20.
This might be the longest podcast ever.
Give yourselves a pat on the back.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair play.
Good stuff. Make sure you're liking, subscribing if you do appreciate the content, and make sure you share it as well. Comment with your answers to various questions. We've been through quite a lot there. Hourihane debate is still up for grabs.
I don't think that's ever going away.
Yeah, no, it won't. But hopefully we all get behind him on Saturday.
I'll get behind them all.
And we
That'll be my message.
roar the Villa boys to a win against Bournemouth. Get our Premier League account up and running.
Premier League fan camps for the first time on Saturday.
Yeah, make sure you go and speak to them. There'll be a preview as well, won't there?
Yeah, we'll get something done.
All right.
Like we did last week with Robbie Gaston, the Spurs fan.
Yeah.
I'm Robbie Gaston and I'm a Spurs fan.
Love it.
Absolutely stitched him.
Love that. All right, have a good rest of week. Up the Villa. Let's do it.
Villa.
If you enjoyed that video, why not watch another? Click the video choices on screen now to go and watch them in full. Be sure to subscribe to the channel by clicking our logo there on the left. Easy peasy.